This is where you get the news without the bias, just the facts. Let's get into it. So Trump and Putin will hold their first in-person meeting since Ukraine invasion last week in Alaska. As you know, Trump has made it a big target of his administration to bring some sort of peace between Ukraine and Russia. It hasn't worked at this point. Russia and the President Trump were supposed to meet in Turkey a few months ago. That didn't happen. So they're going to meet actually in Alaska. Here on this Fox News article, Donald Trump, Putin will meet next Friday, August 15th, for the first in-person meeting between leaders of the U.S. and Russia since Moscow launched its attack in 2022 on Ukraine. The leaders are expected to meet in Alaska. So the first time they've met since 2022, Biden and Putin haven't met since then either. There have been phone calls, but no actual meeting. If you remember a couple months ago when Putin and Trump were trying to meet, there was some sort of breakdown, communication, whatever. One of the big talks of that meeting and this meeting is the presence or lack thereof of President Zelenskyy of Ukraine. In this meeting, Zelenskyy will not be attending this meeting between Trump and Putin in Alaska. So Zelenskyy, whenever he found out about it, he announced Zelenskyy rejects Trump's suggestion that Ukraine should give up territory to Russia in peace talks. So President Trump has actually come out and said, hey, where there will be some sort of land swapping between Russia, Ukraine. There are some territories that Ukraine will have to give up in order to have peace. And Zelenskyy has come out and said, no, we're not going to have that. There is going to be no land swapping. So this is where we're at. We're just going to get into the facts and see what's going on. So Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Saturday bluntly rejected President Donald Trump's suggestion that Kiev would be required to give up territory as part of a peace deal with Russia. This is quotes. Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupier, Zelenskyy said, just hours after Trump announced that he would meet with President Vladimir Putin next week in Alaska. Zelenskyy appeared to bristle at both the suggestion of ceding territory and the prospect of talks being held without Ukraine. Quote, any decisions made against us, any decisions made about Ukraine are at the same time decisions against peace. Without Ukraine are at the same time decisions against peace. They will bring nothing. These are dead decisions. They will never work. Zelenskyy said in the video, Ukrainians will not give Russia any awards for what it has done. So here you have Zelenskyy, head of the Ukrainian nation. He's saying we are not going to give up any land to Russian territory. Trump, who does have cards in his hand, he's not the leader of Ukraine, of course, but he does have cards, and that the United States has been the single largest benefactor to Ukrainian on weapons and support. And Trump's like, no, there will be some land swapping. So we're going to see what happens. As you know, in the last few months, there's been a lot of talks. Hey, we're going to do this, but then that changes and those things don't happen. Here is the Hill talking about President Trump. I think we're going to have ceasefire on a lot of areas. That's all held very well. And getting that ceasefire, they had a lot of guns pointing at each other. You had some soldiers, unfortunately, surrounded by other soldiers. They are going to be, I believe, we're going to pretty soon have a full ceasefire, and then we're going to have a contract, and the contract's being negotiated. The contract in terms of dividing up the lands, it's being negotiated as we speak. So my question is, whose name is required for this contract to have peace? Is it Putin and just Trump in this meeting? That's all that's attending? Or is it Putin and Zelenskyy? Is it Putin, Zelenskyy, and Trump? Or is it a mixture of all three plus the European nations that have been involved in the situation? What's going to happen? I want to know your opinion. Put your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend to see it more. I'll see you next time.